Hello, EKN Nation. Welcome to another podcast, another EKN Radio Network production for This Week in Karting. It is episode number 69. It is August 8th, 2023. So it's weird that it's 8-8. That just boggles my mind when the dates do that. So it throws me off there. I am David Cole, joined by Nate Dean, as we are bringing you all the major news and notes and topics that have been hitting the EKN homepage or in social media over the last essentially a couple of weeks. It has been since July 19th that we recorded This Week in Karting episode. So we had a couple of weeks where we're prepping for SuperCarts USA Pro Tour Summer Nationals and then recovering from it. So we're back to doing podcasts, hopefully have a face-to-face here pretty soon as well in the coming days as well. So we'll continue to be adding to our EKN Radio Network podcasts and YouTube and other forms of media for you to take in. Again, This Week in Karting, episode 69, presented by Skip Barber Racing School. Are you looking for the next step in racing? Go from karts to cars with the Skip Barber Racing School. Skip Barber alumni are champions in every motorsport series, including Formula One, NASCAR, IMSA, and IndyCar. Get behind the wheel of a Skip Barber Formula 4 car featuring a 160 horsepower turbocharged engine. Our highly structured and competitive Skip Barber Formula Race Series is the perfect platform to start your racing career, so you can fulfill your dream of becoming a champion. With equalized race cars and a focus on driver development, your driving skills will determine if you end up in victory lane. Learn more about the Skip Barber Racing School at skipbarber.com or call 866-932-1949. So, Nate, yeah, it's been a couple weeks since we been in a podcast together. So have you enjoyed the time away from the microphone?
Well, away from this microphone, doing other announcing duties at other tracks, was still in front of a microphone. So, yeah, but it's been a little bit. It's not been as long as some of our other breaks in between them, but in the summer months with a lot of racing going on, a bit of a break there, as you said, with the Summer Nationals, but back for another episode.
Yeah, and there's just hasn't been a lot of news. I know that's something I said off the air before we came on. It's just kind of been a dead period in terms of news. You know, we were at SuperCarts USA Pro Tour race. You know, I was working in SCUSA to try and give us a little bit of something for the upcoming season because they have dates, they don't have locations, so nothing from them on that. I gotta think United States Pro Kart Series is working on their schedule for next year. They already have dates, but they're going to probably be locking in locations as well too. IAME USA Grand National Championship, that's been announced to come back for next year, so we're still waiting to hear on that. So really just not a lot of news to kind of discuss, just kind of what's been happening within the sport. Among that is the FIA Karting European Championships. They wrapped up here while we were in Newcastle, Indiana for the SCUSA race, July 28th through the 30th, and Cremona, Italy. The OK Junior and Academy Trophy programs wrapped up their European programs. Interesting weekend in terms of kind of results. So a little bit a mixture, including that in the OK category, where OK Junior was a Kart Republic IAME sweep with the top three drivers there, finishing 1, 2, 3. You have Belgian Thibaut Remakers winning the OK Junior category ahead of Martinez from Italy aboard a Kart Republic. And then Alexander Bonder, I even listened to the show or the broadcast, and now I can't say the name now. Bondarev. Alexander Bondarev from Ukraine, finishing in third. He's actually the driver who came away with the European Championship ahead of Thibaut Remakers and Martins, right? How would you say that? It's Italian. So Icopa. Martinez. That sounds better. Yeah. Yes, that's how I had to remember how it was pronounced in the broadcast. So those two guys finished third, 1, 2, 3 on the podium for the race, and then ended up finishing 1, 2, 3 in the championship. But things were a little bit mixed up in OK category. You had Luigi Colocchia Colocchio, the Italian representing Italy in Italy with it on the Tony Kart Vortex package. They took the victory there ahead of Enzo Vanachekal. Yeah, that's a tough one from, I believe, Thailand, Kart Republic, Miami, and then a former junior champion, Keen Nakamura Berta, the British driver on the Kart Republic. So a little bit more diverse, but more so in the championship. That's where Rene Lammers on the Paralin TM combination from the Netherlands, he was able to secure the OK championship. So European title for him. Gabriel Gomez, the Italian for CRG with Miami Power Plant, finishing in second in the title chase. And then Jamaican Alex Powell, former Supercards USA USPKS driver. We just played, what was it, Pittsburgh USPKS in 2017. Alex Powell was actually racing that event in cadet competition. So the Jamaican finishing third in the championship there. So a little bit more diverse in the OK category, but really the junior package just seems to be all the top drivers on that Kart Republic, which it's a little interesting. You look at it, Supercards USA, Nate, 4 championships there for the Kart Republic brand. Now they're taking, another in OK junior competition in the European Championship. So the momentum's continuing with them in terms of gaining championships across the world.
Yeah, and to add to the Alex Powell point, the now Mercedes F1 junior, so he's made a career out of it so far in his early days for his racing career. But yeah, I mean, looking at the manufacturers, the karts, like you said, even when we were going through that, you have one Tony, one Paralin, one CRG. The rest are Kart Republics. To go back onto what you said about at Summernats with claiming SCUSA Pro Tour titles, I think one of the guys under the Kart Republic Chad Dawkin Racing tent said Kart Republic's made up like 6 or something percent of the entries that weekend and claimed 50% of the titles, which is a bit of an interesting stat, and good on Kart Republic. And they're really, really, both here in the States and over on the other side of the pond, really starting to get that program up and going.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more than 6%. I think, when you look at it, they have, obviously Trinity Karting Group brings a number of drivers. International Motorsport had 2 with Alessandro Di Tullio and I can't remember the other driver's name. Team Ferris Racing, they're on Kart Republic. So there's a good spread. It's probably closer to 10%. When you look at the overall numbers. So, but yeah, again, it's pretty impressive to gain nearly half the championships with in terms of having one of the lower percentage number of chassis out on the racetrack over the course of the 3 events that took place. So that would be a deeper dive to really go through and see the actual numbers there. But I would give it around as 10%. In terms of that. But it's, Kart Republic certainly got momentum on its side. Academy Trophy also competed that weekend as well, wrapping up their program for 2023. Unfortunately, no USA driver took part in this year's program. Katia Woda, the Polish driver, ended up taking the victory ahead of Lisa Billard, the French driver. She finished in the second spot ahead of Marcus Silkunis from Lithuania. Winning the championship was Hugo Marti from Spain over Australian Max Walton, with Silkunis finishing in third in the championship. So that is kind of your recap of the European Championship program wrapping up there. We got World Championships coming up. I know the shifter program is going to be towards the end of September, I believe it was. I'm pulling it up right now because I didn't have it on my screen yet. After Labor Day weekend. So the weekend after Labor Day weekend, the shifter karts drivers, KZ, KZ2, and KZ2 Masters will be at Wackersdorf, Germany. Germany. I always get that confused with Belgium. But Belgium is B. So yeah, they will be there. And then the World Championships taking place October 5 through the 8th. And that'll be in Italy at the Franciacorta facility. I'm not familiar. I think that's the one closer to Lonato, if I recall. Do you remember where that is? I think that is. Either way, it's going to be.
Yeah.
I think it's been a while. Well, I guess yeah, I'll have to look where that is. But yeah, so that'll be basically be the wrap up of the international calendar for FIA karting on that. Any other notes regarding FIA karting, Nate?
Not not really from my end. I
Okay.
I love watching the replays. It's just how early the races are that really get me on the weekends.
It is
But
tough. It's tough to
yeah.
watch that. Yeah, it was nice. It's nice you're able to go back and kind of and you can actually
Yes.
scroll through it, figure out what you want to watch, not have to watch all the opening ceremony stuff, which is cool when you're there. I think when you're rewatching a race, not always the optimal time to
Yeah.
watch that part,
Agreed.
especially not very many um, Americans taking part in the event because I think there was Jack Iliff and Vivek Canthan. They were there in the OK Junior category. I think Iliff was the top finisher there that weekend. He finished in 24th, and Canthan had a DNF. So tough weekend for him. And then one driver from USA in the OK category, and that was Ryan Vincent. He did not qualify for the main event. So moving on to our next topic is road racing. It's something I'm very familiar with, and I keep trying to convince more and more people to do. And thankfully, we got the firsthand experience from Jonathan Ocasio. He's an Ohio driver. He's been in the sport for a number of years now, and now getting to turn 18. Well, for 18-year-olds, you're able to race shifter kart racing on the big tracks. So he was gifted a Father's Day weekend at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, got to race thanks to a friend giving him a Burrell RTM to race in the shifter kart category there. Normally a driver for Magic Kart USA racing in the Stars Championship Series in the Rock Stars program, I believe, category. So the Rock GP or Rock Shifter category for that program. Nate, it always boggles my mind. It's the numbers that stand out when you go road racing. He was talking about hitting 115 miles per hour for the first time in wet conditions, mind you,
Oh,
with a little again not full wet, but a drying racetrack. And it's funny because when I was there in 2021, it was the same thing. The backstretch there at Mid Ohio, and I'm sure you're familiar with it. It's a downhill, got a kink to it. That dries the last out of for some reason, the entire facility, probably because all the trees that are lining it along the west side of it there, but it tends to not dry the quickest. So that is the wettest part of the racetrack. And that's what it was when I went out there in 2021. And it was going down that straightaway. You don't mind it going straight, but when you got to slow down for the right hander there at the end, that's when you're like, okay, I should probably slow up.
yeah. Especially after what happened to Simon Pagenaud there a couple weekends ago at the IndyCar race in an IndyCar going in a go-kart. That's got to be a little bit scary. But looking over that when you sent over the script, just scanning over things, I'm like 115, damn. But it was a really cool story to read. I love the little stories that we do. It just pop up every once in a while.
Yeah,
Just really cool perspectives from everyone else in the karting community.
Yeah, it's always good to hear. Again, you want to be more informed about things, and then what better way than to hear it from somebody else and get kind of their viewpoint on things and kind of have an open mind. And that's kind of the way road racing is. You got to have an open mind when you go to it. He was there a couple times before, so he kind of understood what the event was like. So that kind of helped. But again, I don't think we've converted him. I think he's happy he's been able to do it. I just don't think we've converted him like we did Patrick Olson or somebody like that who is now road racing all the time. Maybe when he gets older, we'll be able to convert Jonathan. But he did go and finish third on Saturday for his first road racing event. So a good congrats to him. And towards the end of the article, you kind of got the notion that maybe it's not my thing, but he certainly enjoyed it, and more laid back atmosphere. But I think he's going to keep focus on sprint racing, and maybe down the road we'll get him hooked to road racing. So again, I always encourage that. Always, dirt racing. A lot of us have never tried dirt racing. Is dirt racing something that you would try, Nate, in either now or down the road?
It's something that recently at our local track of people that want to try that and then just give it a go. Because I think a lot of us have gone down to like Daytona Week or when WKA did that event at Charlotte a couple of years ago and went down once the sprint racing was over to go watch the dirt track stuff. And it always looked interesting to us. So it's something that's on the mind. Just the logistics is the biggest thing for us, but it's something that definitely a lot of people, myself included, want to do.
Yeah. Is there a dirt track in Minnesota, in the Minneapolis area?
I think there is. I think there's one around this area.
Because I know Indiana has a number of them, Ohio. There used to be, I think there's some on the east side of Michigan, a couple there for karting, but obviously down south is where you want to go dirt racing. And as you said, Daytona, like was the Mecca. I mean, it is becoming very close to what it was before, now that it's moved over to the Daytona International Speedway and the flat track there. So it's slowly creeping up and becoming better and bigger and more prestigious, as it used to be at the municipal stadium. Never got to go there. I always heard stories. So I like the flat track there at Daytona because, like you said, you get done during the day inside the speedway. You can head over to the dirt track and check it out. Charlotte, same thing as well too, when they got to run the big racetrack there. Once we got done on the sprint and road racing side, go head over to watch some dirt racing. So definitely something I want to try. I've done it before, but not in a full on left turn only chassis the way you should be doing. I've done it in sprint carts before, where you put some different gear on and try and take it around the racetrack. Not exactly the same thing. So hopefully we'll all get to do that. I know Rob loves dirt racing. He's done it before, and maybe we'll try and convince him to do it again. With that, we'll head into our first commercial break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about the ECAN driver rankings presented by Skip Barber Racing School.
The 28th edition of the world's largest street race for karting is coming this Labor Day weekend. On September 2nd and 3rd, the Extreme Rock Island Grand Prix will feature racing for everyone from grassroots and vintage racers to some of the best national and shifter kart drivers from North America, all at one venue. This historic event promotes fun both on and off the track over the Labor Day weekend, with a focus on making sure the racers, the spectators, and everyone involved enjoys 2 safe days of racing on this unique 6/10 mile temporary street circuit in the heart of Rock Island, Illinois. The 3 headline categories, King of the Streets, King of the Rock Briggs 206, and King of the Rock 100cc, return as the must-win races at the Rock Island Grand Prix. The Margay Ignite Shootout is also back for another year, featuring drivers in senior and masters competition. New for 2023 is the Briggs & Stratton 206 Novice class to feature drivers who have never won at the Rock Island Grand Prix. This year's event also includes the return of the Vintage program, along with the Tag Senior and Yamaha Can Heavy classes to amp up that 2-cycle smell around downtown Rock Island. The Extreme Rock Island Grand Prix is the most fun you can have on and off the track. Learn more by visiting racerockisland.info. Check out any major national karting event, and what's the common thread? Speed Concepts Racing. Up front, in every class, every weekend. The Speed family has been at the forefront of American karting for over 25 years, and Speed Concepts Racing is the sole dedication of Father Mike Speed and his multi-time championship-winning son Alex Speed. This program is all about passion for the sport and a dedication to winning. They know how to get it done. If you're a senior driver ready to put yourself amongst the best in the country, Speed Concepts Racing is the program for you. We can win the big races. You just need to be in the seat. The Speeds program has delivered time over time in the junior classes as well, helping to elevate a long list of young drivers from mid-pack to potential race winners. Speed Concepts Racing has the perfect equation of coaching, driver development, and technical knowledge to elevate your program. Arrive and drive opportunities are available for the remainder of the 2023 season, and we're locking in seats for 2024 as well. If you're ready to take your career to the next level, contact Speed Concepts Racing through email at speedconceptsracing@gmail.com. In racing, experience is priceless. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry with over 50 years of combined karting experience, and we can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. Check out our online store at www.franklinkart.com, where all our products are just a mouse click away. We're constantly adding to the growing product selection on the online store, and we ship daily to ensure products get to you quickly. We specialize in IAME engines, tilt seats, ceramic products, driveline branded products, Briggs & Stratton engines, OTK products, and of course, the championship-winning Merlin chassis. In our online store, you'll find a variety of items to fill your karting needs. Franklin Motorsports is also known for our wide variety of services and is home to Innovative Engine Works by FMS, our in-house engine service department. Frame straightening, kart prep, and dyno testing are all services offered regularly at Franklin Motorsports. For all things karting, visit franklinkart.com. Acceleration Kart Racing is your first and only stop on the internet for karts, parts, and the safety gear you need to get you on the track. Visit shopakr.com for a great selection of karting equipment on a user-friendly website. Acceleration Kart Racing has aligned itself with many of the top manufacturers and distributors in the sport to ensure all the latest equipment is available to you, the racer. With over 20 years in business and customer support available 6 days a week, you can be confident about getting the right parts at the right price when you need them. Be sure to visit shopakr.com today or stop by their headquarters in Las Vegas. Make sure to follow Acceleration Kart Racing on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest specials and new arrivals.
And we are back with episode 69 of This Week in Karting. Is August 8th, 2023. I'm David Cole, joined by Nate Dean, as we just kind of discuss and talk about the sport of karting. Not a lot of news coming through the ECAN homepage and news desk, so we're just kind of picking up some topics to discuss and talk about. One of them being the ECAN driver rankings presented by Skip Barber Racing School. As of August 1st, 2023, following the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour Summer Nationals, we have a new driver in the tag driver rankings, and the shifter kart standings pretty much staying the same with a little bit of shakeup at the top three. Shifter kart, we'll start with that, with Martin Kremers, the Dutch driver, earning his second straight SuperKarts USA Pro Tour title by one single point. Still leads in the shifter kart driver rankings. He has, I was looking for it. Sorry, I was pulling up the standings and how much he was leading by. Essentially 109 points that he's leading now over AJ Myers, the Magic Kart USA driver, with Kyle Wick now moving 3 spots up to third to now put himself in the top 3. So you got PSL Karting, Burrell Art, Magic Kart USA, and GFC Karting rounding out the top 3. That's essentially the top programs, maybe top brands that, Nate, we are seeing in shifter karts racing right now.
Yeah, kind of a pretty even spread amongst the top couple of them. You have Billy Musgrave further down representing Factory Kart, OTK being represented by Danny Formal, who's had a bit of a not a full season with his rides in IMSA with the Lamborghini Super Trofeo and in GTD. But yeah, Marian Kremers, after a season that he admitted hasn't been the best, after definitely going to take the SCUSA Pro Tour title and holding on to that top spot in driver rankings.
Yeah, he has the Rock Vegas victory still on his total, including the 6th place at the Super Nationals. So that those two finishes are certainly keeping him at the top of the standings. And again, depending on how things shake out later in the year is going to be whether he retains that top spot. Because as you said, no victories on the Pro Tour this year. Only the second driver to do that in the 14-year history of the SuperCards USA Pro Tour. Kyle Wick, ironically, was the other driver to do that. So, and he was the driver who finished 1 point behind Kremers in the championship chase. So, very strange way that the championship ended, with probably the closest championship title fight we've ever had, with 4 drivers separated by 7 points. Again, go to our debrief to learn more about that. And it was just a crazy way. But as you said, Braille Art, Magic Kart, GFC, Factory Kart, Cosmic, and Lenzo Kart actually rounding out the top 10 in terms of brands. And we also have 4 different countries represented in the top 10 alone, with USA, the Netherlands, Costa Rica with Danny Formal, and Italy with Giorgio, where does his name go? Giorgio Carrera. Sitting there in 8th spot. So a lot of diversity in our shifter driver rankings for sure. You head over to the tag side of things. Joe Turney's been a winning machine. There's nothing more you can say about it. And that's what's kind of essentially propelled him into the number 1 spot, thanks to his 2 victories at the SCUSA Pro Tour Summer Nationals to claim this year's SuperCards USA Pro Tour title. To be what I think is the second. I'll let you talk, but I think he's only the second international driver or first international driver to win that title. I'm going to look at that right now.
Yeah, so really, really impressive season from Joe. After coming over here from the Winter Series, he was just a dominant force and kind of got a lot of heads turning for that Chad Dawkin Racing Kart Republic driver, taking that top spot over Ryan Norberg, Alessandro Tullio in 3rd. Then the Red Army of Mateus Morgado and Diego Ramos representing those guys there in the top 5, and a lot of names that either moved up from junior or starting to make their way in to this top 10, top 20 battle after some people are moving out, likes of Aiden Grata still moving up. Harley Keeble, one of the, you could say, hard chargers for this driver rankings, went from 54th to 9th in this edition of it. Same with Caleb Gafara, who's into 19th. He made it up 51 spots for him. But just, it's the same thing we say when commentating on these X30 senior races or just seeing the fields and how close they are. It's amazing to see that any one of these drivers on their weekend can go out and win. It's just how close tag racing is in the U.S. right now.
It certainly is. Yeah, as you said, Ryan Norberg sitting second, Alessandro De Tullio moving up into the 3rd spot, 2 spots there. And they're ahead of world champion Mateus Morgado, sitting there in 4th. A fellow Brazilian Diego Ramos in 5th. It's exciting. It's exciting to see that type of competitiveness now again in the top level of tab competition. It's what we've been looking for. Ironically, Norberg, this is the first season that he hasn't picked up a victory since the 2020 Summer Festival. So you can't really count that. But if you do, because it's SCUSA Pro Tour, it was that season and this season. Those are the only 2 seasons that he did not win a race since he began racing SuperCards Pro Tour in 2016. So strange to see that. But obviously, Joe Turning picking up all the victories this year. It's helping him take the top spot in the driver rankings, and really it's going to come down to, much like it does every year, how Supernats kind of unfolds. Norberg has the opportunity there to score a big victory and move his, move his points total up higher with a victory or even a podium. Say if Joe Turney is not able to match that in Vegas come November. So still nothing decided. Obviously the victories put Turney up at to the top now that he's got plenty of events under his belt here in the USA, 13 races to be exact, that count towards the ECAN driver rankings. But you have like a guy, like you said, Harley Keeble moving up 54 or 45 spots, getting his 6th and 7th race here counted towards the ECAN driver ranks. Because again, this is only tag competition. This doesn't count 100cc racing, where we've seen Keeble win 3 straight to end the SuperCards USA Pro Tour program, winning at Challenge of the Americas and winning at other programs as well too. So this top 10 is pretty stacked when you look at it, representing what did I say? I'm going to scroll up here. 6 different chassis brands and 4 countries with USA, UK, Brazil, and Canada. So any other notes you have there, Nate, on the driver rankings? Again, pretty stacked top 10 looking at the tag program.
Not really. It's just the same 10 or so that we see week in and week out challenging for wins. And like you said, it's going to come down to the final couple of races, really, that count towards points in this, with the, I believe, 2 more USPS rounds than Supernats.
Yeah, the USPS events could put a little chink into some people. Again, Norberg looking for a victory there as well, depending on the depth of the field that we get at Motorsports Country Club, and then we get at GoPro for the finale. Those will be interesting point totals for people to add to their standings position. And with that, we'll head into our second commercial break, and when we get back, we'll discuss where are you karting this weekend.
For over 35 years, George Barks has been deeply connected to shifter kart racing in the U.S., and he's been dedicated to one of the most iconic brands in the sport, TM. For over 3 decades, George Barks TM Racing USA has been supplying engine builders and kart shops with the TM product line as a trusted importer and distributor. Current customers include Darcy DeCoste Racing, Ron White Mirage Motorsports, and 2 Wild Karting. Dealer inquiries are invited. The KZ and OKN class are enjoying excitement and growth this year, and TM Racing USA has all the available TM engines in stock. You can count on TM Racing USA for competitive prices and superior customer service. George has developed his stellar reputation of expertise and professionalism through his 30-plus years in the sport. Here's George to tell you in his own words.
I'm George Barks. For over 30 years, I've been proud to represent the TM Racing brand here in the United States. I know the product line inside and out, and we always have products in stock. I'd love to get the opportunity to add you to our network.
From complete engine packages to each and every part in the motor, George Barks TM Racing USA is the go-to source for TM products. Connect with George via email. It's BarksTMRacing@AOL.com or call 310-714-6907.
OpenFender.com is a way for racers like you to raise money to reach your racing goals. I'm founder Mason Filippi of the world's first motorsports funding platform. As a racer, I know that there's a lot we do behind the scenes before hitting the track. Driving fast, winning races comes after a lot of prep, practice, and let's face it, a lot of money. The good news is that fans and sponsors want you to win. They want to help you and be part of your team. That's why I created OpenFender.com, to get these supporters funding your dreams and getting you across the finish line. In a few minutes, you can set up a profile, share it on your socials, and encourage fans and sponsors to boost your racing. Racers using OpenFender are averaging over $1,000 per campaign. This is money that's buying them parts, paying fees, and getting them to the next level. Join OpenFender now and start funding your performance.
Fast, fair, and fun. Ignite Karting offers you all of that at an affordable price. Ignite Karting utilizes the spec Margay Ignite K3 with a Briggs & Stratton 206 engine and a Hoosier R80 tire. Everyone in the junior, senior, and masters classes compete on the same Ignite K3 chassis, which puts all the emphasis squarely on driver development. Additionally, Ignite Karting is accessible at the local, regional, and national level. Special events for the 2023 season include the Ignite Majors, which begins with the annual trip to the Daytona International Speedway as part of the WKA Daytona Kart Week as part of both the sprint and road racing events. Those in the Midwest can enjoy the regionally based Ignite Challenge, which just finished up a record-setting season in 2022. Local club programs have also been established in other states all across the country, from Idaho to Texas, Nebraska to New York, with more tracks and clubs joining the Ignite Karting program. Be part of fast fun and great memories with Margay Racing at an Ignite track near you. All information on Ignite events and Ignite kart packages, including dealers in your area, are available at ignitekarting.com. Get off the couch and out onto the track in 2023. Ignite Karting. Fuel your passion.
Welcome back to episode number 69 of This Week in Karting. It is August 8th, 2023. David Cole and Nate Dean joining you here on our ECAN Radio Network podcast. Our next segment is Where Are You Karting? I know I'm not racing this weekend. Nate, you're going to be somewhere. We'll talk about that at the end of the segment. But first, let's talk about where people can be racing this weekend in terms of national or regional or club racing. The Race Road Tax U.S. Trophy East program is heading to the New Jersey Motorsports Park in Millville, New Jersey. So that'll be the third and fourth round of that program. And again, a great opportunity for not only to prep for the U.S. Trophy Final that'll be coming up next month, but also to just punch your ticket to be one of the reserve drivers and have the opportunity to earn a Road Tax Max Challenge Grand Finals ticket to Bahrain later this year. So again, that's going to be an exciting event. We'll see what drivers stand out this weekend in New Jersey Motorsports Park. On the West Coast, so we go from East Coast to West Coast, Sonoma Raceway will be the Rock Sonoma event. I believe it is round 7 that'll be held this weekend. So the number of the Northern California drivers and teams will be at the Sonoma Raceway to compete in that program. Road racing, love it. Got to keep talking about it. Championship Enduro Series will be racing at the Blackhawk Farms Raceway. Nate, that's basically an oversized sprint track. If you have seen it or have heard about it, I got to race it a couple times. It's basically an oversized sprint track. Not very technical, but spots where there's actual braking but spots where it's really fast. I know the straightaway it doesn't look that long, but when you go down it, man, it almost takes forever to go down that thing.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it seems like it would be an interesting one. Like you said, not incredibly technical, pretty wide corners, but still would offer up quite a bit of a challenge. I know a couple of the guys, at least at our home track, have driven it and they have good memories of it. So that would be a really fun event to participate in.
Yeah, Badger Kart Club used to go down and participate there for, I don't know if they counted it as a points race, but I think they kind of suggested people go down there and kind of have like a Badger Kart Club one-off down there with special classes back when a lot of the categories were road race focused. Now, I mean, you just got to change gears and everybody's doing sprint karts on the road race anyway. So, and then our final stop is, Nate, you can provide us with more information on the Route 66 Sprint Series heading to Whiteland Raceway Park.
Yeah, so round 3 of Route's 2023 calendar, the finishing weekend for the Hoosier State Challenge as well. First time for Route coming to Whiteland, one of the first bigger events, I'll say, that's going here, along with Cup Karts and WKA in its new renovation for 2023 with O'Gara's and everyone who worked on this facility just put in a lot of time, money, and effort into this. I know they're excited to have Route. We're excited to be going down there. It's a lot more technical than it first looks, especially with the sections where it becomes old to new and how wide it goes and how short the track becomes. So it's going to be a bit of a different challenge compared to what Route has had in the first 2 rounds, with Newcastle and Road America being 2 very, very quick tracks. Going into a really slow speed technical one should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, the Cup Karts North America North Division was there, I believe, July. Yeah, so just this past month. And Whiteland actually produces their own live broadcast. So I got to watch some of that. And it's funny you mentioned that, because the newer section, wide open, it is a little technical, going down the straightaway, and you have some turns there. But as you said, when you go from new to old, how much it narrows up in terms of the track width. It certainly throws people off. And the old section is a lot more technical than the newer section. So you definitely have to be on your game. So it'll be cool to see. I'll probably tune in a couple times over the weekend catch, because I believe you guys are doing the live video and audio broadcast all weekend long, correct?
Will we? Yep.
Yeah, so that'll be cool to check out. Home of the MPG Motorsports crew. I'm sure they'll have a big contingent down there racing this weekend in the many different categories. And as you said, wrap up of the Indiana Challenge. Is that what they call it?
Hoosier State Challenge.
Hoosier State Challenge. That's what it was. So, and that's because of the racing at Newcastle first, and then now racing at Whiteland. So you kind of combine those 2 points together. Is that how it works?
Correct.
Yeah, so that'll be cool to wrap that up, and then head back up to I believe Badger Kart Club for the finale.
Yep.
So yeah, cool to see that. And again, if you want to message us, where are you karting this weekend? Hit us up on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, however you want to reach us, and let us know where you're going to be racing this weekend. So with that, we'll head into our final commercial break, and we'll talk more about things that have been on EKN, including editorial, podcasts, and of course, our radio network.
The new face of competitive karting in the Pacific Northwest region is RaceLab. The full-service karting operation is located at the state-of-the-art Kartplex facility in Oliver, British Columbia, Canada, providing everything you need to hit the track or put yourself in a successful driver development program. RaceLab is the official North American distributor for the TB Kart chassis brand, providing the full range of models from kid kart to shifter kart. Villeneuve Racing Karts is their flagship product, available only through RaceLab. The brand carries the name of Formula One champion and Indianapolis 500 winner Jacques Villeneuve, with each model produced by TB Kart. Kartplex, the home of RaceLab, is situated on the grounds of the Area 27 Motorsports Park. From full arrive and drive TB Kart rentals to leagues and competition karting, the facility provides a new home to developing the future stars of motorsports, all beginning at Kartplex with RaceLab. Follow RaceLab on social media on Facebook and Instagram, or load up their website at www.theracelab.ca to learn more about TB Kart and Villeneuve Racing Karts. RaceLab. Race with us, win with us. Winning takes a team, and Northern California karters can take advantage of one of the best, working with the Karting Collective based at Sonoma Raceway. The Karting Collective is a full-service kart shop and a longtime official SOTI kart dealer, founded by karting and racing veteran Nick LeDuc. Nick's decades of experience brings the knowledge needed to reach the podium, with a focus on attention to detail and providing a fun culture within the race team. A whole host of services are available with the Karting Collective, including trackside support, chassis setup, and driver coaching, as well as kart storage, kart service, and repair. Arrive and drive opportunities are also available. Visit thekartingcollective.com or call 415-328-1112. You can find them on social media as well, and make sure to give them a follow. Make the most out of every lap with a perfectly prepped kart from the Karting Collective. History, success, family. Those are the three words that can describe Comet Kart Sales, one of the longest tenured karting businesses in the United States. The family-owned operation located just outside of Indianapolis has provided karts, parts, and services for thousands of racers in the near 6 decades of business. Their online store features everything you need, continually adding new parts to their product line. From full karting packages, new engines, spare or replacement parts, and safety gear, find it all at CometKartSales.com. Their Comet Racing Engine service has won multiple major events and championships over decades of karting and continues to offer the best trackside service in the industry, specializing in IAME X30, IAME Swift, and other 2-cycle power plants. Make sure to head to CometKartSales.com or call them at 317-462-3413 to be part of the Comet Kart Sales family today.
Welcome back to the final segment of This Week in Karting, episode number 69. It is August 8th, 2023. I'm David Cole, joined by Nate Dean. Again, wrapping up this edition of This Week in Karting, we'll talk about the ECAN editorial that has hit the homepage over the last couple of weeks. Race report from the IKF Northern California Sprint Kart Series. Their Santa Maria event is available for reading. I did a flashback Friday a couple weeks ago prior to heading to the Summer Nationals about the Rock Island Grand Prix. It's been 20 years. It's crazy to think about this. 20 years since the 2003 Rock Island Grand Prix, which was the last event that didn't have me showing up. It was probably one of the rainiest Rock Island Grand Prix, as the main events were held in wet conditions. So hopefully it doesn't show back up 20 years later, because I don't want to see it this year. But Bobby Wilson, some of you may recall that name from IRL days with the Indy Lights program, almost made his way into the IndyCar ranks, and finally won his first rock at the Rock Island Grand Prix. I'm trying to think of the other one. Oh, that was also the year that the Emperor, Gary Lawson, was able to pick up his first rock trophies that year. So I think he's at 28 total victories at Rock Island Grand Prix, and that's missing a few years here and there. And he hasn't raced, I think, didn't race last year. So I think he raced in 2021 when we did go back. So again, we pulled the actual race report from ekartingnews.com from back in 2003. We pulled some pages from Shifter Kart Illustrated and also some other images in that. So make sure you have a look at that Flashback Friday article on our ECAN homepage. Speaking of Rob Howden, who raced in 2003 Rock Island Grand Prix, he got back in the seat at the Summer Nationals, so he was able to provide a column about heading back to the seat and getting to race at the SCUSA Pro Tour Summer Nationals. So technically his first Pro Tour race that he competed in. So got to kind of preview that. I know he's going to be working soon on kind of wrapping up what it was like to compete there recently. Obviously dealing with the death of his grandmother, 103 years old. So lived a full life, but dealing with, selling of this and doing that. And so hopefully we'll have him back writing up that column to provide us to read. And also check out the ECAN trackside coverage for the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour Summer Nationals. Nate, we didn't have you in our debrief, but looking at the Summer Nationals, what kind of stood out from that weekend from your perspective?
Yeah, so my friends and I were racing at the home track. Whenever we came off track, we had the broadcast up and the camper and watching that for the entirety of it. But as always, the thing that surprised me this year is just the quality of racing in the cadet categories between Mini and Micro Swift. Because usually, traditionally, you're always going to watch X30 Senior, Pro Shifter, K100 Senior has been on the rise. But the one we've been watching a ton is just the Micro and Mini battles that are just so close. And the competition in that is just, there's not a spread. Really, it's just all a clump of cadet drivers battling for the lead. And it's just amazing to watch. And that's my takeaway, at least.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, especially in the micro division where a lot of drivers have taken the year, the first 8 months to kind of step up and now are there. And we're seeing a number of different drivers kind of right there competing for podium or even victory. So that's cool to see. And of course, the mini category, those guys are just duking it out every session that they're on racetrack. I think both pre-finals, both Saturday and Sunday, were probably the more heated races that we had all season long, with just 2x2, 10 karts deep, just everybody trying to gain an inch somehow, however they could. And again, but it still goes back. And that's what happened on Sunday. You get two drivers who hook up, and as long as they don't pass each other, they're gone. And that's a unique thing about Mini. Even in K Senior with Harley Keeble and Henry Wheeler kind of hooking up, getting away from the field, they were able to do that. And, which was a different story on Saturday because we had four drivers fighting for the lead, and then it became 8 by the time the checkered flag was waving. So interesting how Newcastle does that. Sometimes you're able to have just massive packs of racing, but you're also able to get those breakaways. So we'll see what happens when we head to Motorsports Country Club. We'll talk about that a little bit later. ECAN podcast review. Again, we are available through iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Podbean, and all other podcast outlets. Make sure you subscribe. Give us a review about our ECAN Radio Network podcast. This Week in Karting, episode 68, is available for download, along with our Outlap and Debrief podcast for the SuperKarts USA Summer Nationals. So make sure you download those shows. ECAN Radio Network, upcoming shows to debut on our 24-hour, 7 days a week channel, the only karting radio station in the world. Again, you'll hear This Week in Karting episode tomorrow on the ECAN Radio Network. We'll also continue rewinding with our USPKS and Rock Island Grand Prix live shows. And we'll, as we said before, we'll be getting a face-to-face. I tried to get a hot seat. That didn't work out again. So we'll hopefully get one at the Motorsports Country Club here in a couple weeks, and maybe one at Rock Island. That'll be, maybe we'll do one. I'll do one at the bar, Rock Island. That could be a little interesting with that. But what's coming up on ECAN, as mentioned before, August 25th through the 27th, the United States Pro Kart Series will be heading to the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati for the first time in Batavia, Ohio. So I'm really looking forward to this, and never been to this facility. You got the pleasure of going there for Cup Karts race. And you spoke very highly of it, Nate. And I'm looking forward to being there.
Yeah, I think we talked about the past two podcasts, and at the end, just can't say enough nice things about what Trinity Karting Group and the bailiffs have done with it, and some renovations I've seen on social media just to get USPKS ready. Some paving a few places, I think, around the exit of the track to get ready.
I know they did a pre-grid, so they're setting up a pre-grid. So, I mean, you've been to some of these races where, we just talk about the mini and micros. They're at the grid an hour before they're supposed to be there. So it gets a little bit chaotic. So I think Motorsports Country Club did a very cool thing, and they can use this patio for any other events they have or something else. So they have a pre-grid area that they paved off. So, and it looks like, their paddock is paved. So there's no, issues rolling cart stands wherever you go. Obviously they got plenty of room for parking. That's going to be, where did they park cars? That's what I'm wondering. When you guys were there for Cup Karts, was there enough room for cars to park?
Yeah, it was big enough for the facility was big enough where you could just park where you were pitted.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what because I'm looking at it from aerial, you don't quite know exactly how big the paddock area is. So I'm sure they'll have everything figured out. I know Sean Bailiff and his whole crew there have been working hard to make sure this one's ready, because, this is going to be probably the biggest event they've ever had at this place. So looking forward to that. And then after that, the next weekend will be Labor Day weekend. And what does Labor Day weekend mean? It means Rock Island Grand Prix. So we'll be heading to the 28th edition of the Rock Island Grand Prix on September 2nd through the 3rd, a 2-day event where they turn the city streets into a racetrack for karting. Again, party on and off the racetrack. Again, just so many stories you can tell about this racetrack, about this race in general, and about the people that make up the Rock Island Grand Prix. So excited to see that the Rock Island family once again. And to be there in the Quad Cities area. Should be fun. Should be an exciting time. I already know Race Liberante and Chase Jones, MPG Motorsports and Race Factory, they're going to be there. We'll be following a Race versus Chase program. We did this back in 2021. So I'm excited to be able to follow that. And we'll be covering that. We'll be covering all the other programs. If Mike Dittmer can come back and win again, if Andrew Bedozzo can win a third straight King of the Streets title. We've never had a driver win 3 in a row. So that's going to be an interesting story to follow. I'm trying to think, who's the K or the 100cc winner? Can't remember off the top of my head. I don't know.
I'm blanking along with you.
Because I think it was, I don't know if Dittmer won. No, it was Drake Ostrom that won last year I'm thinking 2 years ago. That's how bad it is. So 2 years ago was Drake Ostrom. Nate, what about Rock Island? I mean, you haven't been there, correct?
I have not.
So what do you think makes Rock Island Rock Island? Just, I know you haven't been there, but from the outside looking in, what do you think makes it Rock Island?
I think it's got to be the history behind it and just how long it's been going on, and just almost the simplicity of it too is its own thing, of just the track of one right-hander and the rest is just lefts. It has its own thing. If you try to do it now, like from scratch, I don't think it would work, but it's just one of those legends in motorsport, and especially in karting, of something that a lot of people want to win. And obviously you have the classes to do it with. Gosh, how much classes do they have this year? They got to be nearing like 20 at this point. But
That's the only downside. There's too many, but that's a different story.
That's another story. But
yep.
Just the prestige of it.
It's funny how you say that, because if an event like this, like you look at Elkhart Grand Prix, they just ran that this past weekend. It has history, but it went away for so long, and they're trying to bring it back. And the one thing they do have to help it is the cities behind it. I think that's one of the big things, because the community hasn't really gotten behind it, or karting community hasn't really gotten behind it in terms of numbers. So that's the interesting side of things. But as you said too, street racing is a different animal. And so that, I think, it's more old school. When you think of, IndyCar and USAC in the old days, you think of these guys who would go race dirt one day and then pave stuff the next day. You don't get a lot of that in karting. So I think that's kind of the unique part of it, and makes Rock Island so unique, is because not everybody wants to do the street racing. It was Justin Wishard that won the 100cc King of the Rock, with Drake Ostrom, King of the Rock, and Briggs, and of course Andrew Bedozo winning King of the Street. So those are the three King titles on up for grabs. See if those guys will be able to defend their crowns, or if we'll have new or repeating winners in each of those three categories. So with that, we will wrap up this episode of This Week in Karting. Again, episode number 69, August 8th, 2023. Nate, any departing words from you as you get ready to head to Whiteland Raceway Park?
I really wish the Indiana tracks could be closer to Minnesota.
Well, see, you just need to move to Indiana. That's what it is.
At this point, we're getting there.
There you go. See, inching your way. At least I only have a 4-hour drive, so it's somewhat easier than driving all the way from Minnesota and Minneapolis. So, although I will say Minneapolis, great area. I've been there a couple of times and enjoyed my time up there. So tough to leave the home when it's that nice, right?
Yeah.
So with that, we will wrap up this show. Again, thank you for listening to This Week in Karting on the EKN Radio Network. And until next time.